Hypothesis number 3 is that density is a predictor of whether something will sink or float. And density is weight divided by volume or size. But how do we compare the weight of something like water that has no fixed shape with something like a hex nut that does? One option might be to get all of our samples into the same size. So here we have 3 containers: salt water, tap water, and oil. And they're all in the same container, so now I can compare weight directly because the size cancels out. Now when I weighed this, I saw that oil was lighter than water and salt water was heavier. So if my theory is correct, that density will predict whether something sinks or floats, then oil ought to float, right? Because it was lighter than water when I put it in the same size container. So let's test it, shall we? Sink or float? What do you think? And there it floats. Okay, so far, something lighter than water is floating. This is looking good. Now, salt water was heavier than water, so it should sink, right? Let's try it. Ready, steady, go. And it sinks. Now, full disclosure, the weight of the container also comes into play, and this plastic is a little bit heavier than water. So my water container will also sink. But if I test them and do a race to see which one sinks the fastest, the salt water ought to sink just a hair faster than the tap water. Let's give it a try. Okay, now the densities are very close, so it's not going to be really easy to see, but watch closely and I'll try to get these released at the same time. Ready, steady, go. And I think you just saw the salt water hit the bottom just a fraction of a second before the tap water. So density is looking really great as a predictor of whether something will sink or float.